I'm so glad that many of you loved the Kitsune pattern and tutorial video. In this video, I'll show you how I personally finished 3 of these masks to help give you ideas on how you can do your build. Hello, I'm Kazul and welcome to my lair. I'm sorry for the delay in getting this video out. As you know, I have started streaming and that is taking up a bit more of my time than I thought it would. You can find a link to my Twitch channel in the description below. I also want to let you know that I started a Ko-fi Gold page. If you would like to directly support my work, you can buy me a monster summoning ingredient. You can just do 1 donation at a time or set it to reoccur every month. But either way, please know that I will continue to produce and post content just like I've been doing. But if you do donate, I will send a personalized thank you message to you. Last announcement is that I've been working hard on the Goatman and will be producing a video about making his head very soon. But for now, let's get on to finishing some masks.
The first step is to look at all your edges and see how clean they are. I know it takes a little bit of practice when initially gluing stuff together like this to get your edges perfectly clean. So if they aren't as clean as you'd want them to be, simply take a Dremel with the sanding drum attachment and sand down those edges. Now, there may be some areas that have holes in them. What you'll need to do is take some quick seal and put it inside the holes and allow it to dry. You can use an emery board like I'm showing here. This is like what you would use to clean up and file your nails. You can use that to help sand down some of the uneven edges as well. Quick seal shrinks as it dries, so you may have to do a couple layers to get your seams perfect. Sometimes you will want a pattern carved into the foam itself, not just painted on. Here I am planning out what kind of pattern I would want on this mask with just a ballpoint pen. This one in particular is inspired by Kindred from League of Legends. Now I'm just taking a scalpel and along that forehead marking I'm cutting into the foam, not all the way through, just barely into the surface. Then when you take and hit it with a heat gun, it'll help separate those cut lines to make like a really defined sharp edge. This one I'm using more quick seal to clean up a bit of my edges that I wasn't as happy with. Then I went out into my garage with my wood engraver tool because it does produce quite noxious fumes when burning the foam. But I took a little scrap piece of foam and practiced some of the textures I wanted before moving on to the final piece. I used the wood engraver to trace along those cut edges that I had made earlier to sort of imply that they were indented in and just create a little bit more texture in that area. Then with the same tip, I'm carving in a wood grain texture across the face. And I am wearing, even though I'm outside in the garage and the garage door is open, I am wearing a respirator because you can see the little white smoke that is rising up straight into my face. So I wanted to make sure I was safe. And this is the finished texture on the Kindred mask. Next up, I wanted to practice doing some sort of stone cracks and kind of a more weathered stone look. So I again took my little practice piece out with a different tip on my wood engraver and started carving in some cracks. I also used the edge of the wood engraver to melt in a little bit different texture. Now you can also add texture with a Dremel. You can do it with the sanding drum, or you can take the post that comes with the cutoff wheel, take a little piece of sandpaper and glue it to a manila folder to give it some extra strength, and cut that into a circle, then put it on the post. Then you can get a little bit more flat, wide texture, as well as like some really fine cuts in it. So I use that to really beat up this mask and make it look really weathered and ancient. I put some serious damage on one ear and also on the tip of the nose. But I really like the pattern that this big wide piece of sandpaper gives. It's more of like a rough hewn look. It can also be used for metal. It makes it look like it's hammered metal. Then I went back in with my wood engraver to add a few more cracks and details around. This is the finished texture of this Anubis mask. Now, after you do all that weathering, you will want to make sure that you heat seal it to get ready to actually seal the foam. Heat sealing the foam makes sure that all the pores on the surface of the foam are closed so that you can use less material to quickly cover and have a clean, smooth finish. Next, I'm preparing them to spray the surface with both Plastidip and Creature Cast rubber. And to do that, I'm taking masking tape and sealing off the inside of the eyes. Then I'm taking an extra piece of EVA foam that I had and sort of taping it in to be a handle that I can hold in place. It probably would have been better to glue this in, but taping it in was quicker for me. This first layer I'm doing with Creature Cast. Now this is semi-rigid Creature Cast rubber, and I'm painting on the first layer so that I can make sure to get it in all those indents, all those wood grain marks, and just to make sure I get complete coverage everywhere. I actually decided to do the first 2 layers with painting on the Creature Cast, just to make sure I got everything covered. Next, I got out my critter gun, which I would be using to spray on another 4 layers onto the masks. Now, it's very important that you thicken up the Creature Cast rubber with the thickener that they sell on their site to be able to make sure that it can go through your critter gun. The Creature Cast is very thick and dries quickly, so you can quickly get on quite a few thin layers. I recommend also having a jar of warm soapy water to help clean out the critter gun in between each layer so it doesn't dry and clog up the opening. This next mask I'm going to seal with Plastidip. The first layers may look terrible, but keep going and put on thick layers and it'll smooth out. This was my first time trying to use Plastidip to seal foam, and I don't think I liked it that much in comparison to the Creature Cast rubber. It turned out okay, it just felt like it took a really long time to do. It's a little bit difficult with the design of this pattern to spray it with the aerosol can, especially around those ears, but just keep going and have patience and you'll be able to get it all. Next up is painting. Now I'm going to be painting all 3 of them pretty simultaneously, so I'll just let you watch. It's pretty easy to see what I'm doing. And when you're happy with your paint job, make sure to let it dry completely and then seal it with your favorite top coat. I like to use Minwax polyurethane spray. And here's one final look at all the masks that I've made.
I want to thank everyone again who has purchased my pattern, and especially those who have sent me pictures of what they've done with it. I can't wait to assemble a video together to show you all of their work. But that's all for this time. Thank you again for watching. I'm Kazul, reminding you to embrace your inner beast.
And now it's just like, man, you got to have that time where you just like disconnect from the scene, just the race, like, and it's a race that I've created in my